You're going to be live here, right?
I'm not live.
Oh, you're just recording?
Yeah, I'm just recording.
All right, so we are hot all the way around.
Yep.
And that's hot going.
Why is it 23 minutes?
Because my camera will actually go into shut off at 23 minutes, and I just want to make sure I don't miss the beat when it goes. It's actually 25 minutes.
Yeah, okay. It's like a cook timer.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, everybody slide down 2 inches. I'm a big old boy down here.
I like the 6 feet apart thing much better.
That's too funny. All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
Hey, y'all, Jeremy James here, the Bourbon Realtor.
Oh, I'm back. I'm Lana.
I told you y'all she'd be back. We're here with Barstools and Bourbon, and we've got, oh my God, like the Brady Bunch of the special guests here today.
No. What a fucking crew we have. We've like dragged everyone in from halfway across the globe.
Do we have to bleep them out?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
This is a truly international show.
I hope I don't get bumped off this.
No,
Like,
just bleeped out.
We got old cousin Jeremy from down under.
We got
that doesn't sound the most southern thing I've heard all week I've been in. Like, old cousin Jeremy down under. Like, no.
well, folks, for those of you who don't know, this is Jeremy Patterson, aka Jez, Whiskefy, from where at in Australia? I don't know. It's like a prison colony down there anyway. So
Yeah, we all arrived on ships and chains, so like it's basically still the same thing.
Yeah.
Like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
It's still like same thing since what? I don't know, 1900s?
something like that. A long time back when it was all black and white photos.
Yeah.
But we actually connected a long time ago through Instagram. He does a lot of good stuff over there. Well, moderately good stuff.
Yeah, moderately.
And so we're connecting here today. We're revisiting Wilderness Trail. We started probably our second episode of Wilderness Trail and did some really terrible reviews on some Wilderness Trail. Loved it absolutely, but terrible reviews. But we figured it was proper time to come back and revisit some of our favorite bourbon.
Terrible reviews of the podcast.
The reviews themselves were terrible. The whiskey and the bourbon was phenomenal.
These guys.
But we've got Dr. Pat Heist, aka the lead singer of Zelame.
You're the coolest. What's your name?
I mean, I don't know how many letters he has after his name, but it's basically a whole alphabet at this point. Yeah, right. PhD, MD. I mean, what on the newsletter he's posting the pictures of med school students he was teaching, and I'm like, good Lord, I hope I don't go to that school or that hospital, wherever. And then we've got Macauley Minton, also from Wilderness Trail Distillery, one of the blenders. You do single barrel picks out there.
Barrel Guru, Jeremy.
Barrel Guru.
Barrel
That's official
Guru.
title. You need to get
I
that
like that.
tattoo. So we are here going to go through a couple different bottles. We got some Sweet Mash Disruptive Series. I think 3 of those, and a special 100 Firm. Pat, I'm just going to let you kind of lead us through these tastings. We'll start with the original OG down there on the right, and just kind of go from there.
Okay, so this is the wheated bourbon. 64% corn, 24% wheat, 12% malted barley. This is actually a barrel pick that we did. It's called the Sweet Mash Disruptors. We, of course, do a sweet mash process. This one is coming in at 114 proof, and we're not getting a neck pour on it, so we're down into the bottle. So let's
Let
start
that thing
her off.
open up a little bit.
And people playing at
Oh,
home.
Pat, come on. Pat, that bottle's paid for. Come on, there we go. All right, that's better.
And people playing at home as well, Pat, how do you guys go about the sweet mash process? Because typically bourbon is normally a sour mash.
That's correct.
So it was the first time I'd actually seen your product, when I got the Whiskey Hunt Australia barrel pick for the, barrel proof rye.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed a sweet mash method, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, it's actually very simple. I mean, if you know what the sour mash method is, which is when you make the mash, which is where you're adding the milled grains and the hot water, you're adding about 20% of your water is going to be left over from a previous distillation. That would be sour mash, and then sweet mash is just very simply that's where we start with 100% water in our mash, and we're not adding any back set from the previous batch. So it's actually quite simple. One of the advantages that we see in doing a sweet mash is basically in looking at consistency. Back set. If you have 2 batches that come out differently in terms of fermenter 1, fermenter 2, the back set's going to be different coming off of those.
Yeah.
And so if we're trying to stay consistent, we want to keep all of our ingredients as consistent as possible, and we just feel like water is more consistent than backset. So,
Do you
different way
mind
to
if
do
you ask that question again? Because apparently they don't have a fucking answering machine here.
We don't. We're actually closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
So Jeremy, would you ask your question again so we can do it without the AT&T interruption over here? And Pat, I hope you remember what you just said. I'm sure you do.
To be honest, I didn't remember what the
Something
question
about
was.
sweet mash.
I had that lined up perfectly and everything, and I'm gonna leave that in for my audience because I appreciate the authenticity of like the fine grain in the
All the
background.
grains, yeast, and water. That's all we need. We don't need no bag set, no nothing on there. We just kicking it off each time, preserving the integrity of that grain, yeast, and barrel profile on every whiskey that we got.
Nice on that sweet mash. Love it. Love it.
So what do you guys think about the weeder here? This is a single barrel strength, so everything in this bottle, 100% what got dumped out of the barrel. No filtration, no blending, no mingling with other barrels. So this is straight Kentucky right here.
I do like how you guys use the. I just noticed that on the back of the bottle, there, non-chill filter as well.
Yeah, we don't bottle anything at less than 100 proof, and again, this one's set at 114 proof.
Yeah.
So normally, as long as you're above like 94 plus proof, you're not going to have a problem with the haze flocking.
Well, Pat, I remember this was the one I picked up last summer, and I was at the beach and sat out on the balcony of my hotel or condo or whatever it was, and I poured a sip of that, and for me, it was just salted caramel covered green apple. And oh my gosh, it was. I sat back and I did a whole photo series after that. Just you know how long it takes to find in off-peak season a salted caramel green apple. I mean, that is like not easy to find.
So do you feel like it's changed any?
A little bit. It's opened up a little bit more. I've got a little bit more oakiness and a little bit more complexity as far as those barrel notes, rather than that fresh kind of 4-year fruity forward note.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't picking up any of that like fresh, I guess fresh green apple. It's 100% more like oakiness to it.
That brown sugar, and it is more like brown sugar, more not like so much sorghum or anything like that. But very nice.
Yeah.
So it was just that fresh when I first popped it. Really
Yeah, I
nice.
remember when this first came out. That was actually the first sweet mash disruptor one we did. And I can't remember how many bottles I picked up personally, but I think it was about 12. I really like that.
I just goes to attest that I can pick some good barrels that out.
So needless to say, if you see Macauley running around WTD in the rick houses with a drill, follow him around. Because he's going to be tapping some great barrels. Apparently there's one up there that has like 100 different holes in it or something like
Well, that's not my due diligence. I'm an expert and I know how to just drill the same hole.
Drill the same hole over and over. all us, as a married guy over 25 years, I know exactly
here we
what
go.
you mean.
And you're worried about bleeping me out. Don't worry about bleeping me out.
I gotta just keep on that. Sorry.
Oh, wow. So,
Beautiful spot. Beautiful spot. Thank you.
We have called this the Mash Interruption Series instead of the Mash Disruptive model.
yeah.
Right.
Lock the door.
We're a busy
Take the phone
restaurant,
off the
guys.
hook.
Sorry.
You know what? That's so good. I love how crazy busy you guys are. It's just like it just makes it more authentic. It's like, yeah, we got customers rolling in. It's like, yeah, the phone's ringing. Like, whatever.
That's all right.
Oh, want to try some of this?
Well, it's like when I teach meditation. I mean, there's always going to be constant interruptions in your life. You just got to learn to roll with the punches and keep going with it.
Well, it also
Just
goes to
that.
show you they probably need to be open on Tuesdays.
I would say that would probably be about
How
right.
are your bartending skills?
Apparently Lahana doesn't work enough.
Actually.
Actually, Lahana works 7 days a week.
Allegedly, but not on Tuesdays.
Right now. We're
This is
opening a
work.
new restaurant. I work a lot.
So what about a little plug for your new restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely. Get it in there.
All right, next door.
Exclusive.
Exclusive plug.
Okay, so as you all know, we've recorded here in the past Copper and Oak, and we talk about our owners, Bo and Nicole Cacciatore. Well, now we're going on a new venture right through that wall, actually. We're opening a new Italian restaurant here in Danville, Kentucky called La Cosa Nostra. No, we are not in the mob. It actually means our thing, but it's cool. Bo and Nicole have partnered with Chris and myself, and we're about to have a new cool spot to visit next time you're in Danville.
So between the bourbon, copper, the Italian restaurant, and now the Greek restaurant. I'm going to be fat and broke forever.
Well, I already am there, so let's
Yep.
just keep it going, Jeremy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. When do you guys?
It's the
Swear
phone. We're
to
busy
God.
restaurant. We are set to open hopefully mid-May.
Mid-May.
Yeah,
Good.
it's been a big whirlwind. We completely gutted it, rebuilding right now. In fact, I start painting next week, so if you see any runs, it is what it is.
Nice.
I'm not a professional painter. Oh my
Well, wait a
I'm
second.
not on your all's level. I love it.
Anybody else got any thoughts on the whiskey here?
I'm going to throw that phone in the street.
Oh, I'm the one that keeps calling.
Yeah, I like it.
Macaulay's over here going, watch this. I'm going to screw this whole thing up.
That sounds like a Macauley.
Oh my God, that's too funny. So Mac, why did you pick this 4-year for the Sweet Mash Disruptor?
Everything that I pick out is going to be more eclectic than our standard lineup. I
Gotcha.
like more of those. You're going to get fruit flavors, more complexity, sometimes those funky barrels, if you will.
Right.
I always have a little taste for the off-profile things live.
Nice. I like it.
Off profile is always fun as well, especially like if you're going for something like relative. And I guess like trying, because I'd only played with the single barrel pick that Whiskey Hunt did, and I was like, okay, cool, this is not the typical stuff I'm used to. It's a little bit different. I noticed like those cidery notes and that. I'm like, that's not something I normally see in a rye.
Right.
So
See, I like that. He said cidery notes, and I was like, I could vibe with that note. I'll appreciate
yeah,
that.
I got a look
tasting
from the
that.
boss over there. Like I was like, okay, I'll take that look. He didn't slap me, so I'm like, I'm good.
So yesterday we did a tasting here actually with some of our employees. Like every few months we do a whiskey lineup just so they get to learn them a little bit more. And the second one in my lineup was the Wilderness Wheated, but of course it's just one I pulled off the shelf, so it was 100 proof.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how different this one is. You know, like that is one of my dailies. I go to it very often, but if anyone knows me, I'm more of a Casket Strength type of person.
Yeah,
So
right.
this right here,
Spicy.
it's a lot more complex than what the 100 proof is.
Especially for a weeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just segues us into our next one. So this is going to be a 6-year-old weeded barrel pick right here. So this is actually the 100th fermentation that we've ever done. So this was at our old location.
This is off the pot, right? Yeah.
Yep, off the pot.
Thank you, sir.
This is the 100th firm bottle?
This is the 100th
I
firm.
have one on my shelf. I just haven't opened it.
This is a
just
fresh
because.
crack on the 100th firm.
Fresh
I like
crack.
that. All right, I'm gonna give her a minute. 6 years too. Okay, I like that.
Well, it's like a delicate dance. Just swirl it around a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay, I got you.
Breeze
Well,
her
that's
hair.
also single barrel strength. This is 120 proof.
Oh.
Another interesting
Yes,
thing
please.
that I always like to see on these is how many bottles came out of that
Yeah.
barrel. So these are pretty similar. This one is 206 bottles of 114 proof. This is 196 bottles of 120 proof. So that's something I like to see on a single barrel. Is how many bottles come out. You know how much leakage occurred, how much evaporative loss occurred. A lot of times, if you have a barrel that is, has few bottles in it, that means that either it leaked or you had extensive evaporative loss, and either one of those things can cause the flavors to kind of concentrate more in the barrel. So it's always interesting to at least see, how many bottles came out of any particular barrel.
To be 120 proof, this is pretty sweet on the nose.
Drinks
Well,
nice.
what's more eclectic about this is this would have came out of a charred and toasted barrel as well too. This is
Okay.
Charred
little bit-
and toasted.
little bit of
Nice.
a more rare variety of cask when we were kind of get starting off.
So I'm pulling a little bit of fruit, but I tell you what, the leather and tobacco notes.
Yeah,
on
that's
this really nice.
Well, another interesting thing between these two is the 6-year would have been distilled on our pot still, and 1 barrel batches, and this would have been distilled on our 18-inch column that would be a 12 to 13 barrel batch.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
just
it. That's your
something
smaller column, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
18-inch column.
Insert B-roll footage here. Gosh, that's nice.
Yeah, when you say 18-inch column, that doesn't mean it's that tall. It means
It's average
18
length. It's
18
average.
inches
It's,
in
girth.
diameter.
it's an average. It's an average length, right?
Girth.
That's average. They lied to you.
Average. Totally average.
He gets centimeters and inches for you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Man, I step away from Barstools and Bourbon for a few months, and then it comes back. It's like
Oh, we
It's off the
R-rated.
rails.
we,
Yeah.
we have stopped editing. Let's just put it
I
that way.
felt
We,
bad for like saying the F word and.
Oh, no, we
this
just-
is
rolling,
the number
that's
one
like-
episode.
Yeah.
we just let the shit fly now. It's
There's
Oh my
got any
God.
more of this laying around? Like, this is bad.
That one is.
I had to beat up
it was
an old
just
lady
one
to get
barrel.
that one.
C flat didgeridoo.
Yeah, I got you.
Naturally
I got
hauled
you.
out.
Yeah, all right, my man. That's how we playing.
From
Okay.
travel.
I did. I had to
A
beat up
little
a
Vegemite note in this.
Vegemite note. Yeah, where's my Vegemite, Jeremy?
Dude, Vegemite's awful. I don't know
You
why.
were supposed to bring me some. I probably could get it on Amazon though.
It's made out of
Truth be
yeast,
told.
though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we had actually funny enough, Archie Rose made some was it like gin or vodka out of Vegemite, and they aged. They did something with like the Vegemite jars. So all these emptied out Vegemite jars, and they put this. I think it was gin. They put it in there. I'm gonna do some research, make sure it's right. And then they ran it back through, and then they bottled it. And it like was super funky. I was just like, I smelled it. I was like, no, thank you. I don't like Vegemite. Like some of the
It's real salty, isn't it?
yeah.
Worse than the whiskey out of the shoe?
No, actually, that Four Roses out of the shoe was pretty good.
I'll insert that clip right here.
Yeah, like I've got a minute-long clip of that, so I'm happy to send that to
Slice
you.
that in.
Yeah.
So that was a Vegemite good bourbon.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Please
Oh my
stay
god.
peace.
We
No.
tolerate him, folks.
Stand-up
We
comedy
we
is
love
not
him, but
in
we
your
tolerate him.
future.
You're more than welcome to come home with me. You know how to make some good juice. So I'm like, I can teach you how distilleries a thing or two.
Are you gonna go home and veg? I might.
That goes good.
Wow.
That's
It
good.
just keeps getting worse.
You know, I said I wasn't gonna edit, but
Do not chop that out. I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna write a letter to someone. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
just so everybody knows, we started this party at Wilderness Trail about an hour ago.
I started this party in Heaven Hill.
Lahana was working, so she's not
I was
nearly as far
working.
down the road. I tell you what, that is good.
This is good. Yeah. I'd fuck with that all day.
I've got no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was back when we were making one barrel per batch. So that literally is the only barrel of that in existence.
That was down on 4th Street, right? In the old warehouse down there where I thought I was going to get stabbed every time I went down.
Sure shit. That's
Yep.
exactly.
Jeremy, it's like
Jeremy,
half a
if
mile down the
you
road.
can go to some
You're all
bigger
getting
cities
stabbed.
sometime.
Yeah,
but-
It's Danville. It's Danville. It's Danville. I literally, you could walk naked through town in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and not get stabbed in Danville.
I'm like, you come up to
You couldn't
Louisville.
beg to get stabbed.
They'd be like, "You all right, fam?"
How about we call Tony and we get him down here and we take you home?
Look, I just saw Tony. He's dealing with enough problems with that. Please stay closed.
There'll be a Facebook Live of that.
I told you we shouldn't have gave him the 10 strip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Macauley, so wait a minute. You're going after a PhD, right?
Potentially.
Nice. So what's your focus going to be on that?
Human consciousness and transformation. So, how we perceive reality.
So do we just get high and then like?
Would you get high and drink a lot and talk, right?
Something like
Fucking
that.
cheers to that.
Absolutely, man. That
Something like that.
I need to audit that.
Let's
Can you help me audit that class?
spin wheel into the next one. Then.
The one he's taking?
Yeah, his PhD work, man.
I'm babying this. This stuff's delicious, and you're like, yeah, let's pull it next time. I'm like, no. Let's stay here for a minute. I'm happy with this. Like this toasted charred
Well, we're on
barrel,
the
like,
shot clock right now.
No, I'm going to go back and we'll restart. That's fine.
Okay.
I just need to know.
I was like,
I just need to be sure that I'm
for another round. We just
Yeah.
shot these things down like, no.
I
I'm
was like,
no.
Jeremy's
We're gonna
battery
start
dies
pull-
at 25 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to start pulling off the back bar here in a minute. And we'll hand this.
We're only second base. McCauley's already go third base.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
I heard he
Buy me
moved.
dinner first. We can go for
Holiday.
that.
I heard he moves fast, Pat.
Don't have time to waste.
That's right.
Nice.
You feel those strips kicking in. You're like, let's go.
What was micro is now macro.
Oh,
I might be the only one that does not understand this joke, but do not explain it live.
What, the 10 strip? The 10
Yeah.
strip? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I understand the joke, yeah. Yeah.
What joke?
Who's joking?
The joke would be me on it. That would be the joke. There would be a news article written, I guarantee that 100%.
Yeah,
Naked man taped out on a soccer
Tape.
field. Talking about choo-choo train tattoo.
Walks through 8 tasers unfazed. News on TikTok. He was carrying a bottle of WTD bourbon though. That's
Barstools and Bourbon to go viral.
we
They'll be like,
100,000
"We do not know
subscribers
this guy."
overnight.
No association. Suing him actually.
Oh man, even sniffing the empty glass.
Yeah, this stuff's nuts. When are you guys going to run another batch of this?
Of the 100th firm, yeah.
We got.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
So Pat, tell us about some experimental stuff because we talked about it in one of the other episodes. You were talking about some experimental stuff, some scraped barrels and things like that you were doing over there.
Yeah, some. I mean, there's different procedures that they. I know Jack Daniels when they do the Sinatra.
Yeah.
You know that it's well known. They do like a scalloping at the
Yep.
inside of the barrel, like cut grooves in it
Mm.
to increase the surface
Yeah.
area, pull some
Yeah.
of the char off.
Yeah.
So we've done some barrel. I mean, we don't. You know, a lot of people. You know, when are you gonna do? What's the next new thing? It's like we already make 3 fucking mash recipes. I mean, that's a lot. And if you think of all the different ways that you can, you know, small batch, single barrel, barrel strength, bottle in bond, and then you look at, you know, 50 ml bottles, half pints,
Right.
pints, 750, 700 mils for, you know, Europe, 1.75 liters. I mean, you run into a shitload of SKUs.
You do 100.
Yeah.
You do 1.75
Well,
liters.
we
of
don't
WTD?
yet, but when you
Seven.
look at, you know, that kind of stuff, in addition to age-stated stuff. So if you
Yeah.
got 3 different expressions, and you start getting into age-stated of that, hell, you just doubled your SKUs.
Mm.
So, and then you look at all the different bottles and different things, and I mean, hell, we're probably up to 25 to 35 SKUs.
You know what
It's-
SKUs
it's
are?
You
different.
know what excuse are?
I'm
I'm
like,
so lost.
I'm like,
He lost me at 1.7. He lost me
All
at
right,
1.75.
so we
WTD.
got all
Hold
kinds of
on.
different listings out here
let me
right
say
now.
one thing. I think this proves that Jeremy's bourbon knowledge is skewed.
Hey,
Yeah. The ultimate burn.
I
Don't cut that one out.
I got totally wrapped up in a WTD at a 1.75. That's where you lost me. I was like, oh.
We don't do it, but we will, and that'll be another.
It's all our barcode.
Okay,
Nice.
randomly though, speaking of this, I like the subtle bottle change.
Oh, this.
When did this occur?
It's about to hit a bitter
We don't
flex.
do it.
That's the
I'll
same
add
thing.
change.
Look, this is totally different.
are you on the glass,
no,
Bobby?
We're changing.
No,
They're the same.
We're
It
changing.
so is.
You think?
At the end of May.
I think she got the 10 mil strip.
No
That's
way.
exactly the same. Look.
No way.
It's a
Oh my gosh, she's so high right now.
We're honestly.
Macauley, am I losing my mind?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are. We're going into a more tapered shape at the end of the month or next May or
Oh,
end of May
so these are
right now.
collectibles now.
Yeah.
So the bottle shape
Yep.
is about to change. The label's going to change.
Oh, shit.
Everything's going to
You going back to
bottle
Windows
and
Trace,
bond,
or-
100
Oh,
proof.
don't do that.
No,
We'll have
I'm not
beep.
doing that. The bottles are just going to have a very subtle change.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Nobody say anything cool.
We haven't yet.
So
Oh,
Jeremy, what a SKU is the barcode on the back.
Oh yeah, an SKU. I got you.
What we've got here is failure.
Failure
From
to communicate.
Yeah, SKU. I don't know what that stands for. Does anybody know? SKU.
No, I got no
It's called
idea.
SKUs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
It's
all
like
I know.
each different like part number that you got.
And I just
Throw another brain cell on the Bobby.
You know how hard I am.
I don't know.
Let's not try.
Wow.
I had to segue us into the second.
Yeah, that's
segment here.
fair. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
we're,
down.
we're definitely keeping that. All right. So that was 6 year. And for those of you who may be looking for 6 year product out there at Wilderness Trail, be very careful if you're looking for the wheat or the rye, because those bottles are all but twins except for about 2 letters, right? That wheat and that rye bottle, right? On 6 year.
Just about. We're about to roll out on the rye whiskey as well too. So all
gonna
of,
change it up?
all of our 6-year-old family is going to be a silver label product.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're going to have to differentiate that on the label. Is
But
what
we're
that is
but we're
right
going to be
now.
able to because right now the only difference is where it says wheat and where it says rye,
Well, actually, we've actually made more changes just even as of today.
right?
We've been kind of
It's
struggling with.
exclusive.
with how our family reserve would be our single barrel, like our store picks. for
Right,
example.
yep.
This is an example of a store pick. So because it looks so similar to our normal bottle and bond,
Right.
we're actually going to change up our what we call our family reserve, which are single barrel strength, to a silver label that's got the lettering on it would be yellow for the wheated, green for the high, for
Okay,
the
okay,
whiskey,
okay.
and black. So that'll be what differentiates it. We were actually going to do a foil kind of more. You remember those conversations we had, Macauley, about doing a foil label, and the damn material just didn't work out for
Yeah.
us. So we're actually going to go to the silver label, and then what we're going to do, rather than bottle the 6 year in the silver label, is just simply put that 6 year neck tag on it, or whatever the age
Yeah.
statement
Right.
is on our normal bottle.
So use the standard colors of the
That's right.
wheat and the rye, but then do the
to say what age it is, if
Yeah.
it's more
Nice.
than 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and then all of the family reserve, which are again the single barrel strengths, are going to be in silver labels with each of the different
Nice.
colors.
So
Good.
you don't have to play around with the TTB and everything
That's
else.
right. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And you want to have the most simplest way to where you can interchange your labels, so
Yeah.
to where you're not having to order, 100 new labels.
Yeah, of
just
course.
so-
Right.
Of course.
So that seemed to be one way to.
because that was the thing. I mean, there for a while you had to get. I mean, well, right now it's the only way to tell the difference between the 6 year wheat and the high rye is turn it, look it on the side, and find where it either says wheat or rye.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
and my eyesight's getting like not
Well,
great.
and you've probably also noticed if you got, there's the wheated bourbon, there's the high rye bourbon, then all of a sudden it's like, well, hell, there's another lane that's got the yellow label
Right.
wheated in there. But that's the only way to differentiate the family reserve again, which is single barrel strength. I mean, I've always had an easy time doing it because first of
I
all,
look at the proof.
it's got the proof written
Yep.
on it because it's not bottle and bond.
Right.
Yeah.
Second of all, it does say family reserve in very small letters
Right.
here, and then secondly, it would actually have the
Yeah.
bottles wrote on the back.
And that was the first thing I always key in on, because I had people ask me, how can you tell if it's barrel proof or not? And I'm like, look, it's all barrel proof.
Well, and also if you're going down the shelf and it says $49.99, $49.99, and then
$69.
$69.99.
Yeah.
There you go. There's
another-
your single barrel.
There's another differentiator. But
Yep.
anyway, we were sort of getting some feedback from the industry or our distributors and stores, and they suggested that we do something a little more drastic to differentiate those, and so that's what we've done too.
Good.
So exclusive information.
There you go.
To
Bless.
Inside Marketing Branding 101.
Love it.
For
Love
free
it.
for you.
That's right.
Love
And
it.
this is also the first time Macaulay's ever heard any of this, so it's.
Oh, there you go.
It's all
Exclusive
new.
news.
Hey, trust me, he's
We
not the
talked
only
about
one.
it, but it's okay.
Sounds like it's going to be a meeting tomorrow in the office, let me tell you.
All right, so we've done 4 year wheat, we've done 6 year wheat on the 100th firm, which is an exclusive bottling that came out.
I love that. I'm like, I'm happy if we don't do anything else. I'm like, I love that toasted charred barrel.
But we would be
I'm like,
remiss. We're
Yeah.
only halfway through this.
We
Yeah,
gotta
we're
keep
only
going
halfway
through
through,
some
yeah,
of the Disruptive Series that I
loosen the
picked
pants a
out.
little bit.
All right, so Mac, you've pulled these Disruptive
Hold up.
Series, so let's do this high rye.
All right, so let's get into Volume 6 right here.
Volume 6.
Volume 6. All right,
Or
run us through it. What are we
Number
looking at?
6. Number 1, Volume 6
Okay,
right
I got you.
here.
It's like a library at this point.
So what is the Disruptive Series? Because I know my Aussies playing at home have no idea what your Sweet Mash Disruptive Series is.
There was a Fforbes article that proclaimed that we were the sweet mash disruptors, and so that's kind of where it came from. And so we just kind of carried that on and put it on one.
Fforbes.
I
Fforbes.
love that term that came from Fred Minnick and Fforbes as well
Mm-hmm.
too, and I just thought it stuck so well, so we needed to keep it going.
Forbes and Fred Minnick, y'all. I mean, when they're shouting your name,
No, when they're creating names for your brand, you're like, well, thank you, I'll
just
take
slap
that.
that on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever somebody wants to go into Forbes and tell the story
Oh,
of the
yeah.
legend of myself, I'm always happy to.
Yeah.
What?
Insert Zellerman
Yeah.
footage here.
Yeah.
There you go. Uh-huh.
I'm getting some apple tea
which-
cake notes on this one.
Okay, what's a tea cake?
Sorry, it's like in Australia. Really? Like you guys are looking at me
I don't
like,
even. Hey, tea here either comes in sweet or unsweet.
This is what happens when you go. You invite an Australian in, and hopefully Nan is watching this because she'll be like, "Yeah, okay, I appreciate that." So apple tea cake in Australia is like essentially like a vanilla cake, but it's got like apples built through it. It's super sweet.
Okay.
It's like plenty of sugar, which is good for you. It's like super syrupy.
Okay.
Like generally, that was like the first thing. Brought it up to my nose. I'm like,
Buttercream.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know, like what pound cake is.
Pastry. I get
Yeah, it's
really
like
a nice
pastry.
pastry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like this shit, and like I use the
shit.
term, and it's like, so I'm like, you guys are gonna have to do so much back end editing. And
No,
when I film it out-
just let it roll, baby.
And I'm like, when I film all my stuff, I'm like, oh, I'll just like drop the word fuck in there. I just apologize to Nan and Pop.
We-
I'm like,
We,
my
hey, it
Pop's
earns
gonna-
us the PG-13 rating. That's fine.
It's
It's
fine.
not for kids.
Exactly,
We're good.
exactly.
We're drinking a 21 and over beverage.
That's right.
Exactly.
Disney Plus has Daredevil on it
these
now, so I
podcasts
mean
are
we're
for
good.
6-year-olds.
That's mad.
Well, unless they turn 21, then they can watch.
And
Yeah,
that's
if you're under 21, turn this shit off right now.
Oh no!
And tell your mom.
No! 18. Come on.
Or 18
Oh,
in
18 in Australia.
18 in
Sorry, yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
it's like,
Which is like 32 everywhere else. So.
you just burned 3 years off my audience. I'm like, like guys, you can still continue to watch this fine. Like I've got an age rating on mine. It's like 18 plus. Like you guys are fine.
We don't even put an age rating. We're from Kentucky. This stuff is on your water. I mean,
Yeah, like
we have 3 taps: hot, cold, and bourbon. I mean that's.
Oh fuck yeah! I'll cheers to that. Like, that's been me all weekend. So
And if we were
Thank
drinking
you.
these in Australia, these would be
I'm on
overproof.
oh yeah,
Overproof.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
yeah.
So what's-
OPUP.
Oh, that's Bundaberg.
Tax money.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's Bundaberg. I was gonna bring over some Bundaberg, and I was like, do you know what? I don't think anyone would appreciate, but I really should have brought some.
Yeah.
Would have been an experience.
We were working with an Australian producer that was trying to recreate Bundaberg.
Oh Jesus.
And I was like, why?
Why? Exactly. Why?
One
like,
word.
I'm Australian.
Why?
I'm like, you don't try and recreate Bundaberg. I'm like,
He's
it's
like,
cheap
I got
as shit.
money and have no idea what to do with it.
Yeah. Like, you can give it to me and I'll drink it away. That's fine. I'm happy to burn your money for you.
What is it? How do you turn $5 million into $1 million? Start a distillery. Isn't that about right, Pat?
Well, some people do that.
Yeah, like,
Some people do that. Pat's like, we do the other math.
yeah, like,
He's like,
Pat's done really well for himself because I've got
Where
like
is Shane,
4
by the
bottles.
way? He's in Florida, I think, all the time right now, right? Yeah.
He's working down there.
He's working.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly.
Yep.
I'm tied to the Excel sheet in the Rick House 6 days a
Right.
week.
That's right.
Listen to him. Oh my God. The Excel in the Rick House. It's terrible. Oh my God. I have to go sample another bottle. Which one of these 24,000 should I pull?
There's something else that I can't.
No,
That's nice.
I remember picking this barrel. So part of the Sweet Mash Disruptive Series is highlighting
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of like the outsides of our flavor wheelhouse. This has a little bit more of that rye cherry funk to it, with a little bit of that vanilla cream
Yep.
back end on it right there.
That is
I'm getting more tea cake.
Yeah, okay.
And more tea cake.
Yeah, see, you.
tea cake, of course.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you're taking the piss out of me, but fuck you guys.
Maybe do they have a cherry tea cake?
Tea cake.
Or is apple the only tea cake?
Apple's really the other
Oh
tea cake.
fuck.
It's the
The
only
superior
tea
tea cake.
The
really.
superior tea cake.
Yeah, we're gonna
Actually, it's something that's been bugging me, and like I keep seeing it on all your bottles. What is your Firm Pro 1?
That is one of the yeast strains. It's actually the first yeast strain that we started with. So a lot of people, when they look at our barrel picks, they're like, "Well, damn, did you guys ever use any other yeast
No, 'cause
besides FP1?"
That's what I keep saying.
Well, that's what we used exclusively for the first couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
So any of the older barrel picks would most likely have been made with our FP, and FP stands for Firm Pro. That's our trade name for
Yeah,
our
right.
yeast.
Yeah, well, because it's the parent company.
Mhm.
So I,
Yep.
how many yeast strains do you have in your library now?
We've got about 10,000 yeast isolates. We
Oh.
only know what about a couple thousand of those are in terms of, we know they're all yeast, but we've only identified maybe a couple thousand of those to species level.
you're more than welcome to scrape the 4 roses out of the bottom of my shoe.
Well,
He probably
I'll
has
tell
some.
you-
He probably
I'll
has
tell
some of
you
that in the
what's,
freezer
I'll tell you
somewhere.
what's hilarious. We get people coming into the distillery all the time that are on the Bourbon Trail.
Right.
And they come into the lab and they're like, "Hey man," they give us a napkin that's
Oh.
got mash on it. They're like, "I was just at Distillery X,
Yeah.
and here's the yeast strain."
and Pat's like,
and literally,
you know, I'm covered by NDA, but
Yeah.
it's okay, we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it.
Scrape the swipe.
Yeah.
Scrape the swipe.
That's
Yeah,
too
that's
funny.
right. Yeah,
That's
invite
awesome.
me into your distillery is like inviting a vampire into your home. If you're
Ooh,
trying
nice.
to protect your yeast strains.
Gone.
That's why I've got this little yeast grabber here. Let me smell that little fermenter. Oh, goodness. I got
let me
a little bit
lean
on
over.
Here. Hold on, let me go to the car, cut a little bit off, put it on a plate. 2 days later, I got isolated colonies.
He's got a little petri dish
You
out
know
there. in
what's
the car.
funny? I can actually imagine you doing that.
Well, it's not funny if it's not true.
He was in here one time and one of our taps is acting funky, and out of nowhere he was like, "Give me some of this. I'm taking it in a to-go cup, taped it up." He's like, "I'm sending it straight to the lab, like mad scientist level."
When we brought a report in,
And then he
10
had a
days
report.
later,
Was
Yes.
it bad as the last beer report we did in downtown Danville?
Different location, full disclosure.
Okay, wrong question. We'll edit that one out.
Lahana has the cleanest taps in
And
all
to
of
the
Denver.
commercial break now.
Full stop. Full stop.
Brought to you by Vegemite.
Well,
The yeast
just
that
because
makes
it's a
meats.
strange brew doesn't mean it's like, it wasn't like spoiled.
Yeah,
or
I want to
anything.
say it was
just
like
had
a cider, and a lot of them come out weird, like all the sediment gets to the bottom,
Yeah.
and it was something like that.
Just shake the keg, you'll be right.
Yeah, you're just gonna shake it up. Just
Yeah,
turn it
yeah.
upside down and
Yeah.
back up.
Well, she ain't cleaned the lines out.
Yeah, it's it.
Say don't open up.
Not a copper though. Not a copper.
Apparently, you are
Just
to
what
store
lines off of
like
beers
some
you got.
ciders upside down so that it doesn't all go to the bottom. I don't know if you read the label, you learn.
Oh, I remember that.
When the
I remember
ramen
that
was,
because
when it came
my
out,
wife actually got
and
a
it was
serving
not
at that other
translucent, it was
restaurant.
like opaque in the glass. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And she
I
loved it.
I remembered it. She absolutely loved it. She goes, "Oh my gosh, it's so fruity and everything else."
Yeah,
I'm like,
all
"That's
the
supposed to be
guava
like a
was in
cider."
that glass.
Yeah.
Well, if you drink a beer and it's
Damn.
0% ABV, that means fermentation never occurred. So whatever you started with, plus whatever bacteria were in there, and you get organic acids and other things, which in some cases, back in the old days, if you were making beer and you had a bad batch, you'd throw it out. These days, if you have a bad batch, you double the price and call it a sour beer.
Hey, do you know what? I love a sour beer though.
That's a
Yeah,
lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
That's a lesson right
Yeah.
there, man.
That's
People,
right.
people auditing this video right now.
Yeah.
Just
Well, just like back in the old days, if a tornado blew your barrel warehouse in half, you'd call the insurance company and get it fixed. Nowadays, if it blows the
put a new
siding
label,
off,
put a new label on
you
it.
relabel it
Done.
and charge $400.
That is some shade.
I don't know any distillery company that would have ever
That's
been
Wilderness Trace,
so,
baby.
so underhanded to do something like that. Shit. Fire, flood, toilet backup, whatever.
I was associating myself from this group.
Well, I mean, Dom, you tell them about I think we've actually found a good person to do the Casket Strength project now. He's honestly got to.
Did you say casket?
Yeah, Casket.
We've been on the.
This guy's actually sent me some prototypes information, so he's got some stuff working in the woods for
Yeah,
us.
so one of our dreams of Wilderness Trail is to create the first casket strength bourbon. And so we need to find charred oak caskets to put the whiskey in. So we've had a hard time finding somebody to build them. I had one guy who was going to do it, and then he called me up and he said,
New chart, right?
It's got to be
New chard, not-
seasoned oak. Like normally you're not going to make a casket out of oak because it's too damn heavy.
Right.
So that's the first quandary that I get when I ask somebody to make one. The second thing is they call up and say, "Hey, what kind of liner do you want in here?" It's like, man, you didn't even miss.
You missed
the
it
whole damn
completely.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking for seasoned oak made into caskets that are charred on the inside. You age the bourbon in. There's no rule. I mean,
Container.
Bourbon's got to
Container,
go
yeah.
into a
Container.
new charred oak vessel. Doesn't have to be a barrel. So this is something that we've talked about on a couple. This is non-exclusive, unfortunately. We can call it exclusive.
Yeah, well.
Hey, you
Well,
just
It's
got
the
me
well,
first
first.
time we've ever
No.
discussed it with an Aussie.
We cannot
I'll tell you
say
that.
exclusive is a blacklist term from marketing. We cannot use exclusive.
Oh, that's right. No, I meant this
Craft.
is exclusive.
Craft.
I'm mentioning it here on the
Craft.
show.
Unique.
That's right. But anyhow, the goal there was to release a bourbon and call it Casket Strength instead of Casket Strength.
Yeah, okay.
Be the official bourbon of Halloween, the official bourbon of heavy metal.
I swear to goodness, if I don't
the
see that in
official bourbon
October,
of,
I'm going to be pissed.
Exactly.
If I don't have the case arrive at my house by October, I'm gonna be
I
fucking
want a whole
pissed.
casket at my
All right,
house.
that's
here's,
like
here's the
7
thing.
injury, dude.
We've got just as
I'll
many
let you
people
know
signed
exactly
up to
what
be buried in
octave
the
I need.
caskets.
Oh
as
my
we
God,
have
unless
the
it's
one-
You could resell them.
Hell
So
yeah.
you do casket finished. Oh my Jesus!
Oh
You do
my
casket
God.
finished bourbons, then resell the caskets. People would be buried in these things
Well, how
all day
about
long.
a human finished in a
Oh.
casket.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, the taters are gonna
Burn it.
lose their
Yeah.
minds.
It's simple.
I
sounds
want to
so
be.
wrong.
I want to be
It
casket
sounds
finished.
so wrong, but it's
Yeah.
right.
And then I want like a Viking funeral
Well, yeah,
pyre
cremate-
in my bourbon casket.
Yeah, cremate me and
Oh.
dump me in the Amazon and the Mississippi River, please.
I don't. Think, I don't think they meet, do they?
I was like, did you just say in the Amazon in the Mississippi?
But different dumping
Oh,
points.
different dumping points. Okay.
You don't have to-
No, he means the Amazon warehouse next to the Mississippi River, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Different dumping
Makes sense,
points.
makes
We're gonna
Oh my God.
lab it up a little bit.
It's about as close as the Amazon as you're gonna get, son.
There's some other creative offerings from
Yeah.
Casket.
Casket. No. My auntie would
Oh my
love
God.
that. Casket finished bourbon. Oh, she loves her gin.
I
She's
wanna
very
be-
like white lady, and like casket finished.
I want to be
that all
casket.
day.
I need to be casket finished. That's the way I'm going out. I was
I
going to be
wouldn't mind-
cremated before. I'm going out casket finished now.
I wouldn't mind
That's-
being finished
I mean,
in the casket. Let me tell
What do
you.
you think, Lahana?
Mm-hmm.
Go out casket finished.
I don't have a dark sense of humor. So
Oh,
I'm
I
going
am-
to stay right here.
Oh, I am going out casket finished.
Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah, who's joking? This isn't funny. We're serious as a heart attack. This is. Pat, I ain't playing. So how many gallons is a casket? So how many gallons is a casket?
Well, according to our rough math, I don't know how many gallons would be in it, but a normal barrel full 53-gallon barrel is going to weigh about 505 pounds.
Right?
It's like a regular Jeremy size.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we estimate that a casket full of whiskey would be more like 1,100 to 1,300 pounds. So there may be some issues. I mean, you can't have nails in it.
Yeah.
You have to have sort of a similar type of structure as a barrel somehow.
Almost like tongue and groove then.
Yeah,
Yeah, tongue
but
groove
you
is
know,
what he said
but
he
the
wanted
thing
to do.
is, we could, like, if there's any structural issues, we could always build it in place, fill it in place, and
Yeah,
empty
age
it in
it in
place.
place,
That
right.
way
Yeah,
we're not-
okay,
I
right.
mean, I had these dreams of like filling them and white gloving them into a hearse, and then taking them to the aging mausoleum,
Yeah.
and then having like a ceremony.
I swear
we
to
can
God,
do that with the
if
prototype.
you don't
Yeah,
call me
the
to get that
prototype.
video of all of that taking place, I'm going to be pissed.
I'm
to
flying
high
out
heavens.
for that.
I swear. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I want to be on the
actually,
lifting committee.
I'm going to be a pallbearer.
White glove committee.
Yeah.
I want to be a pallbearer. I don't care how much that thing weighs.
Me and the TSA agent, mate, like white glove committee, we're ready to go.
Well, I actually had a discussion with the lead singer of Slayer, and
Oh, of course.
to see
Of course.
Oh,
Of
God.
to see if they were interested in having anything to do with it. You know, I'm kind of envisioning, Lamb of God and Slayer, all these logos
Yes.
on the
The Wilderness
coffers.
cartoon with rockstar.
But he kind of was like, "Oh man, that's screwed up."
Maybe-
idea." So if lead
Dude,
singer
if you're
of
too
Slayer,
screwed up for Slayer,
then you know it's a great idea.
absolutely. That's
right. That's
awesome.
all I knew. That's
Why
all
don't
I
you
knew.
play with Metallica? Like Metallica's doing all their blackened stuff. I'm sure you could jump in there with that.
Well, I don't
Probably-
know. That's
Probably
not a bad
brand
idea,
crossover.
but-
Yeah.
Like they're already doing stuff. Like
Jarls
it's not like
Ulrich,
you have to.
if
Well,
you're
the fact-
listening-
the fact that they didn't come to us first
Well,
shows,
fuck
course.
those
shows
guys.
me that
Of course, he's
they,
put
they
off.
didn't do their homework.
Obviously, but
So I'm still a Metallica fan. though,
yeah, I get
so-
you. I get you.
So anyway,
So we're a bourbon show.
Since when? When did we become a bourbon show?
We're going to the rye whiskey segment right now. Actually.
Oh my God.
I'm
Now
like,
we're
wait,
a rye
I'm
whiskey
not
segment.
editing a single second of any of this.
I'm like,
I
we
swear.
switched up. I'm like, we were bourbon show for the first 2 bottles. Now we switched it up. We're right. We don't.
We are in the funeral business now.
Yeah.
No, we're in the opportunity business.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mac
Yeah,
comes in
we
with a
are.
hitter.
First of all,
we're in the creativity business. We're in the ass kicking business. We're in the whiskey business. There's a lot of businesses.
Did you
in there.
say ass kicking or ass kissing?
both.
Ass kicking.
As
I'm in the hospitality
Hey.
business, so unfortunately, my other
No, no.
personality is ass kissing.
Well, that's why
Well,
he has
this one
people
is
that
ass
he
kicking.
Hold
works
on,
under.
let me say this. Anytime Macauley does a barrel pick and then loses that barrel before it gets bottled, we become an ass kissing. So,
Okay.
I love
There's
it.
a story there. Let's hear
That is
this.
choosing
Well,
violence. today.
500-pound barrels just fall out of my back pocket somehow. Sitting
Lost
in the
it.
bar
There's going to be a
store.
Netflix
Lost
documentary
it.
about this in a few years.
There might be an uproaring, so we need to edit that part out. for
Lost
sure.
it. Hey, I'm not saying that I might have a barrel at the house or anything, but that
We're not
you know,
saying, but we're
I'm not
saying.
saying, but I mean,
I might load one into my suitcase.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
already overweight, but let's
the
go.
Netflix. We just got a new Netflix series out of this.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I just said that like
And
30
you can't
seconds
call it
ago.
Heist.
Oh,
Catch
did you?
up.
You're way over there.
You
I'm
can't
so,
call
Oh
it
my
heist
God.
either.
yeah, you can't call it. We could call it heist because the
Because of
WTV
like
heist.
Heist.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we got it.
Oh, there we go.
Max trying to get us back on the line.
Yeah,
Off
there we
of
go.
this
What a good
conversation.
human.
this is actually going to be the lowest proof of the night right here.
Well, it's good
so this
because
is
I mean-
102 proof, so just calm the palate down a little bit. So rye
Go out.
whiskey is always my favorite of our lineup.
We're gonna
So
go
this
out
one is
mellow.
a 56% rye, 33% corn, 11% malted barley.
I just dialed a little bit behind that my ears on
102.
that
Oh,
one.
nice. Oh, yeah. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? A
It's
little
like
bit
good.
of. Little bit of.
Spain.
So while we're just talking about secrets and things,
I'm like, why
Oh
the
my
hell
God.
did you
we
do that?
are
Macaulay's got a secret. Macaulay's got a secret.
we are working on the first finishing project of all
Oh,
time.
that's right, we are.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Run us through it.
I've brought the some masterminds from Massachusetts. My boy Ryan Maloney at Julio's came down, did some guidance work with me, and we picked out 3 rye whiskey barrels that we're going to make into a small batch. We're going to fill up 2 maple syrup
Oh,
barrels
fuck
that
yes.
had been aged in rye whiskey barrels from Wilderness Trail for 6 months. And then we're going to have a little small bottling of the OG small batch before. So we're going to just see how those come out. And then
I'm at about
gonna be
9 Didgeridoo Jews at
that's
this
the
point.
that's the that's the
12.
first
12.
that's the first that's the
We're
first
at 12
finishing
Didgeridoos.
project right
Can we
there.
put scissor up on the label?
Ah, shit, I hope
I'm just
so.
asking.
We can see what they can say.
Scissor.
There's a reason you hire
We'll
people
see.
to do this.
We'll see if they can say no. Like,
So when are we going to see like toasted barrels or anything like that coming on the WTV?
well, I'm getting my legs broke about those SKUs, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Make sure you
We're gonna
Google
see
that.
what's
We're having a branding meeting and we're like calling them out, and I'm like, well, what about this and this and
Well, we've just been very
This
careful.
and,
I think that for us, one thing that's very important, having 3 different mash recipes that
Yes.
again can be bottled 5 different ways
Right.
each. We've always been very careful about, making sure we establish a really good baseline
Yeah.
on what we're making,
Agreed.
so that when we do decide to make a very calculated change, we can see what did that change do for us.
Right.
If you don't even know what the baseline is on your product, it's hard to really say how is this finishing going to do. I mean, you can blindly do it,
Right.
but we're just trying to be very scientific and meticulous about it.
Well, that makes perfect sense because you got companies out there, and a lot of them are sourcers. Companies like Barrel, which have basically lost a brand identity other than the label on the bottle, because they have so many different things that they're not known for any one thing. There's no profile
Well,
that goes across.
I'll stand up for Barrel.
Yeah, I'll
right.
do that with you.
Because
someone has
they-
no
Yeah.
branding.
Yeah,
Well,
like, shit,
those guys do a great job. All their stuff is excellent, and in the market where we're in a lot of the same markets they are, and they're pushing those bottles for double what ours
Sure.
are going for, and there's nobody complaining about it.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying it's not
And
good.
they're buying that Canadian for the low and flipping it for the high.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, as far as a profile for what's in the bottle, there's not one thing you go to for barrel. You know it's quality. You know it's good in the barrel or in the bottle, but it's not like, okay, I know what I'm getting on a knob crew.
Well, I mean,
Or
like it's
whatever.
like with Compass Box. I mean, with anything else.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it's like you want something eclectic and you don't want to just pull off the same thing every time off the shelf. That's what you look
let's
for.
put it to a vote. Okay, Jeremy votes to shit on Barrel Bourbon.
Fuck you, Jeremy.
I didn't shit on Barrel
Who
Bourbon.
agrees
No,
not to
I
shit
did
on
not.
it?
Yeah, fuck
I
yeah.
did
We
not.
got a quorum over here. Thank you, Barrel.
I
Honest to
did.
goodness,
I love you, Barrel.
I'm not easily
You gotta send me a
impressed,
care
like,
package. I love
a
you.
Send me
I'll
cigarettes.
drink whiskey and I'm like,
Cigarettes
this is
21,
really
you should
good.
bring you over a
But
fucking
their
case.
Dovetail one,
Well,
Make sure
the
it's
first time I ever
yeah.
had Dovetail, I was like, holy shit. And then the second time I had it, I was like, holy shit. And the third time, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was
So-
Second, number
I'm a Barrel
two,
fan.
number two.
Oh,
in
now
our
he's gonna
whiskey of the year-
backtrack. Now he's gonna backtrack.
Number two in our whiskey of the year was Barrel Seagrass. So
No
I don't want to
backtracking.
hear it. So I'm not saying it's not quality. I'm saying
just saying
that there
it's
is a
not.
brand identity across the
But
bottles.
So
I'm
like,
gonna send you branding
Maybe they
101
just want something for
textbook when I get
everybody.
home.
So he did reverse shit just then.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
showed, now he's eating his words and he's back to the
Jump on
fan.
board.
No.
Oh, man. Okay, guys.
Glad I could turn
What do
that
you all
around.
think about this? I have some very specific opinions, and I want to know y'all's first.
I drank all mine.
Okay.
I didn't even
All right,
think
well,
about it.
Well,
Jeremy, you're gonna have to fix that up in about
Hold on.
45
Jeremy,
seconds.
Hold on to your notes. Hold on to your notes.
Jeremy, why
Well,
don't
it's
you
gonna
give us a
take
spark notes on Wilderness Trail
like
branding?
it.
How we
I can actually
should be
say.
doing that.
Okay, so I want to see more product in Australia because, like,
I've been
Hold on.
you let me know when you're ready, sweetheart.
You just keep that thought in your brain.
It doesn't last there for long.
I
so-
know. It's like a
She moves
goldfish.
quick around here,
It's like a goldfish.
100%.
Hold on.
You're right. I'll fuck with you. My audience will see this, so like I ain't editing shit. They know me. I'm like, I don't edit none of my videos. I'm like,
Alright.
you guys can have me as authentic as I am.
All right. Go and go.
Oh, and
Alright.
okay.
So,
Back to
Lahana first.
opinions on this. I have some specifics. I can't speak. Some specific
Some
ones.
Mississippi's.
But I'd like to hear y'all's first.
Alright, so
She wants to copy our answers.
Oh no, I'm not copying your answers. I'm just not going to be a Jeremy and be an asshole and then revert it. But really,
Oh
not be an
my
asshole
God.
because
I thought you were
really
talking about
love
me for a
it.
second.
No, the other one. And Wilderness
I
Trail
love you.
Rye is one of
Good.
my all-time go-tos. So I just have specific opinions, and I want to.
I'll
Fill y'all
go.
out.
I'll go first. This right here, I like it, but I can say that it's a little bit off profile.
yeah.
It
From
is.
what our rye
No,
normally
but he's
is.
good.
So are you telling me?
Really, it's single barrel
Yes.
barrel strength.
So are you telling me that your brand has a specific profile for a mash bill that should be consistent from one to the next, which is the point I was making about barrel bourbon.
No, that's not.
No,
what I'm
you
saying.
lost.
No,
I'm
no,
out.
no,
I'm out.
We're all out.
Keep sending me more shit, Barrel. I love you.
What I'm saying is there is kind of a
A
average
wheelhouse.
flavor that you get. Like if you taste
Wheelhouse.
9 different single barrels
Right.
of
Yeah.
rye,
Yes.
Yeah.
you're going to get a certain profile in
Agreed.
the majority of those.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you're going to have some that are. Now, I'm not saying it's bad.
It's not.
It's just not characteristic,
Mhm.
but that's fine because it's a single barrel strength.
That's the
I
idea.
like
for
that.
the
Question
single
for
barrel.
you
And we don't try to pick barrels that all taste the same. What the hell's the point of that?
Right,
If you're going to do
agreed.
a single barrel release.
You better off doing a small batch.
That's right.
Okay, so typically, doesn't your all's rye run a little bit higher proof than 102? Is that on the low end?
Yes.
Because anytime I see it, it's anywhere from like 109 to 114.
That's
Like
what-
that's the
yeah.
range. You know what I mean?
And the reason for that, unless you've got something to say.
No, keep going.
Okay, so the reason for that, whenever we first started the distillery, we barreled at 100 proof and we
Okay.
barreled at 110.
Okay.
So if you get a rye whiskey that is anywhere around 100, that would have been one that was barreled at the lower proof. Now, I've seen some that are lower than 100 proof, and so people are like, holy shit, how the hell did it go from 100 down to 96 point whatever?
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever we first started the distillery, if you receive a whole truckload of barrels and it takes you months to use those barrels, you got to be concerned that they're going to leak. And so what we would do in the morning is we'd steal some of our hot water out of our cooker vessel that we've been ready to mash in, and we put it in the barrels to do a leak check. Well, you've just imbibed all that
Yeah.
water in there. Then we go in at 100 proof.
Yeah.
Hell, it probably was 94 proof.
Right.
And then evaporative loss occurred, and it never even hit 100.
Yeah.
So those are some different.
Macauley, is that what you were
Variables
talking
based
about
on-
setting your timer on your phone and
I don't think I
something
don't.
like that.
I wouldn't dive into that.
Let's not even go back.
That was
to
a private conversation we had back at the distillery. I don't like. I'm pulling the pin there. I'm like, I don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable
my
talking about
guy.
this.
Thank you.
I got you.
So
no, I love it though. This
when
is
I
great.
first
But
taste
don't-
this,
don't-
it's like dill. Not like an overwhelming amount, just a touch.
What
It
does
is
dill
not.
taste like to you then?
It tastes like fucking dill.
I don't know what that
I'm getting a
tastes
heap
like,
of pine and
though.
like lime. That's what
But
I'm
it's
getting.
just like
Oh,
a
I like
very
that
faint
lime.
amount at
Yeah.
the beginning, but
Yeah.
then it
Plenty of
kind of
lime.
changes
Right.
into like a bit
Yeah.
of like minty on the back end, like
Yeah,
your
like-
back.
And not dill pickle, like dill the herb.
Yeah,
That's-
no,
that
was
not
my
dill
question.
pickle.
Right.
This is not
I
a
was waiting
pickleback
for
like the
Kurt to
herb
answer.
dill.
There we go. There we go.
Just a touch of it, but I'm like, I mean, ryes bring out a lot more herbal
So,
flavors, and
yeah,
that's just what I
100%.
get at the
Honestly, like
Perfect for the shaman.
These barrels that I picked out of the Sweet Mash Disruptor series, I usually pick them in pairs, and I try to pick them on the eclectic fringes of
Yeah.
them, just to showcase what can be out of our
Yeah.
wheelhouse of flavors. Like, not what your standard small batch is, not what your standard product is going to be off the shelf. So that's been kind of some of my guidance on that. And sometimes it's gotten me into trouble as well too. I mean, sometimes I like the funky ones.
Well, that's the thing about
thing
one of the
is,
extremes.
whenever you're laying out several barrels for somebody to do a barrel pick,
Yeah.
you don't want them all to taste the same.
Right,
You want-
right.
And every now and then, even if there's a barrel that we think is like, I mean, off profile is one thing, but kind of off spec or
Yeah.
off. I mean, because
Right,
there are
right.
things that can occur in the water that really make things funky. We could have a little bacterial contamination in a fermenter
Yeah.
that makes it a little more funky. It's still great whiskey, but you know, we'll throw those in as kind of outliers, and a lot of times people pick them, you know, because
Yeah.
they're not looking. I mean, hell, if you just want the normal rye, go to the
Just get the
store
normal
and
rye,
get
Yeah.
it.
You better
Right.
find a case.
Yeah, but if you're wanting to do a barrel pick and you want something that's a little bit different and nuanced, you a lot of times go for those.
Especially like people. Sorry to cut you off because I'm extremely rude
No,
as an
no,
Australian.
no.
But like, if you're going even off like profile, people might like that for their like palates, and then they're like, my audience will enjoy that,
Yeah.
and they'll move a case twice as quick as what they would like something that's like normal profile, and they're like, it doesn't like that dill flavor. But if you're playing around with like pine limes and like I don't know, pine trees, everything else, apple tea cakes, and like if you
Yeah.
fuck with a lot of apple tea cakes, like go nuts.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm shit. I'd buy a case
Well,
of
if
that.
you're sitting around a campfire and you have the aroma from the forest or
Yeah.
you know
Oh, yeah.
some
Oh,
nearby
yeah.
pine trees,
Yeah.
or whatever,
Playing
it puts
the
you into a
didgeridoo.
mood.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. You got it. That's how we play.
Mm-hmm.
So glad that's not a trademark term.
No, like we have to throw that around. Like I'm Australian. You can find Australian. You can say whatever you want. Like
Hey,
talk
I-
shit about Vegemite, didgeridoo.
I
it's go
fucking
nuts.
play the didgeridoo though. There was no one talking shit about
Yeah,
that.
that's
That is a
it.
legitimate fact.
So
of
we're
life.
not going to boomerang back to the beginning here, are we?
I mean, if
I'm
we
going
need
another
to.
round. Let's go. No, like if anything,
Round two.
At the end of it, I'm like,
was
Jeremy, like, you sold one house to the person in the bourbon industry. You're not the bourbon realtor.
I just said boomerang. Hopefully you got that.
I got it. Don't worry. I'm picking up what you put in there.
That's too awesome.
I'm
So-
enjoying all these Australian references though. Like I'm sure because 80% of my audience is American, so you guys are like appealing to the 20% of my audience.
Oh, well,
Nice,
damn.
nice.
I'm like, I know my stats. It's okay.
So,
I got you.
so we've got a pink label out, which we don't have right now, and that's the 4 grain.
You don't have it?
We?
I don't.
What do you mean
That's-
we?
Oh,
I'm like, you don't own
So-
anything in the company. You're always there every fucking weekend, but you're not like, you don't own shit.
I'm the
on
hobo.
on the weekend, we come out with the 250 bottles. It's like, I didn't make it out there. Like, oh, it's for charity, for Christ's sake.
Well, so we've got the pink bottle, the 4 grain, which so tell us the story about that.
When we
How
say
that-
we, you mean like I got
Like,
some.
yeah.
Jeremy's got some.
The
Yeah,
collective
like,
we.
you ain't got shit.
Okay, what were you saying about we?
I got a mouse in my pocket. That's what it is.
One-eyed trouser man.
Yeah, that 8 inches is working for you fine. No
Eight,
worries.
eight. Oh, you heard it here, folks.
Don't
8.
finish that sentence.
He said 8. I've got it on record.
Conversion issue
Yeah.
with metric.
Yeah, you get confused. Like,
Well, since this is now an R-rated show, I always tell everybody most of my dick ended up in my personality. So
there we go.
there's that.
That's why it comes out of her mouth so much.
Oh! That we're gonna have. Oh shit!
Edit that
No, we're not
out.
editing shit.
Edit that out.
I'm going. I'm gonna post this up as soon as I get back to my place. That's how.
I was talking about your personality.
Oh my
Of course.
Do we want to take a moment to recognize our sponsors?
Yeah,
No.
sponsors. Penthouse, Hustler, And what?
OnlyFans.
And thank you to the Bourbon Swami's Peep Show.
Yes.
Well, where is Nicole and Bo?
They're-
Nicole, we
wait,
want to
wait.
give you guys full credit.
They're one of
Oh my
these.
God.
You know what? I'm glad we featured Wilderness Trail here.
Woo! Okay. Well, Pat, give us a rundown on your 4 grain, because we know that came out as basically like a single barrel that you guys had a project
Yeah.
on. So,
So,
give us a
you
rundown
know,
of what the deal there was.
Well, one day we were running our wheat at bourbon, so we got our corn in, we got half our wheat in, and we ran out of wheat. And so we decided to finish up the other half with rye and then put malted barley in there.
4 grain.
So that's 4
Alright.
grain. So that shows the sophistication of how some mash bills are generated.
Oh shit.
And that's why we only made 1 barrel of it, because we got wheat in the next day and we started running our normal shit. So that's the story on that. And so we ended up releasing that as a charity barrel because it was very rare and it was 6 years old. And we sold it for it was $200, $250
yeah.
a bottle, and all
Yeah.
that went to charity.
Yep.
Jeremy, have you had it yet?
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
I tasted it out there
I
at the
was just going
distillery.
to tell you it's really good.
Yeah,
Oh,
it really
it's
is.
Just
it's
wanted to say
incredible.
hey over there.
Yeah,
Blessed him down earlier.
Yeah.
So
I went to
now
whiskey church and shit, and I was like, woo! Getting blessed today.
So in
Hallelujah.
the newsletter we talked about that may be a future release down the road as far
Yeah,
as
we've started
long-term.
making 4 grain again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think our oldest is only 2 to 3 years old now.
So we've got a year and a half ish
Yeah,
to wait.
Yeah, you're gonna push it at 6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that needs-
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like I'm like
6 year
Oh,
4 grain.
those-
It's super good.
6
Yeah.
years is the magical number.
Yeah,
Six
like-
years.
oh,
yeah.
and
Well, you're
that's-
exactly right.
Like me from like a alcoholic perspective, like all your stuff, I liked it. I was like when I was tasting everything earlier, I was getting a lot of the white dog because I shot it
grain.
like and it was
Is
like
that
super-
like one of them apple tea cakes? I don't know what that
He
means.
No.
does have
I was like when I was tasting the 4-year stuff, I was like
High wines, Macauley. High wines.
yeah, sorry. High wines. I was like when I was going through everything earlier, I was like, yeah, I'm getting a lot of this like this grain forward stuff, and I'm like it's good. I'm like I just want like less of the grain because I'm used to drinking that 5-year that like we got in Australia, and it's like it's different. I was like, okay, it takes a little bit to get used to, and then when I tried that 6-year, and I was like, this shit
Boom.
slaps.
Yep.
And I'm like, y'all need to release that
Y'all.
6-year. I'm like, I'm
Dropping
You
hillbilly
didn't
words.
say
Tell me
y'all.
what.
You didn't say y'all?
no,
We'll convert him.
No, flip it. I'm like, I've been drinking bourbon since I was 16.
Y'all.
Y'all. And I'm like, I've been producing content since I was like, what, 20, I don't know, whatever. And like,
So in other words, for like 2 years.
how old are you? I'm like,
Check
no,
this
but
out,
I'm
idea.
like doing this shit for a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Wait.
Hey,
Lahana,
don't be getting personal now.
Lahana didn't check my ID when I came in, so if
How old are
anything,
you?
no, I'm not
You
telling
throw
you.
that out there?
No, I'm
Well,
not.
I
the
just
good
want to
news-
see if you're the baby of the group, because typically I am.
Oh, he's definitely the baby.
Yeah,
of
he
the
is.
Well,
Very-
oh, are you?
This
Yeah,
bourbon's
no.
older than me, so
How old are you?
27.
Oh, yeah, you're the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
28, so.
oh, really?
My marriage is
Yeah.
almost older than you.
Shit, we're not going to talk about that.
Well, I tell you what, this has been a tour de force for Wilderness Trail.
Yeah, this
has been phenomenal.
This is definitely an upgrade
Honest to
from your
goodness.
first video, second video, really.
In Copper Note, like everybody's like, "What's your fave? What do you recommend?" And I tell them all the time, like, we're biased because like we love Pat and Shane, but if you look and
Macauley.
sorry,
Yeah.
and Haley and Jared,
We got you over here.
and
We got you,
Brian.
man. We got
Now, to be fair, they probably throw Pat and Shane out of here less than they do Macauley. But,
I don't know about that either.
Anyway,
I've got some stories. I've got some stories
Well,
on that too.
depends on the day. No, just kidding. But I tell everyone, yes, we are biased, but we clearly aren't the only ones.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you look across Wilderness for the past 2 to 3 years, well, especially the past 2 years, has been like up and coming, rising in the whiskey world. So it's not just us.
Right.
And so it's a solid product all the way around. This is one of my absolute go-tos, especially this Casket Strength. Jeremy, I'm taking this home.
Yep.
Look the other way.
Well, I tell you what.
I want to take that one.
What we
home.
loved was
Shit.
what about a year and a half ago. Minnick did his tasting. We were mid-Rona. We don't say the C word, but we were mid-Rona. He did his
Corona,
whole.
I love
Shit,
that
I was
beer.
going to throw the other
Sorry.
side down.
So he did that whole like
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, it was
12
Australian
blind
when he came
tasting.
out. I was like, shit.
I
My
remember
contact's
the
only
12
get fucking
wine.
bleached.
He did the 12 blind tasting.
We were in
and
here
Put this
watching
way,
it
we're
like
on
it
the
was a
hunt
horse race.
for the other word that starts with the C. But let's not do that.
Oh,
We're all trying to sit here and trying to be cunny funts, but
y'all have drank too much for this to be productive.
I've been drinking since 10 a.m. I was in Heaven Hill this morning doing barrel proofs, and I'm like, whoa! Let's go!
Nice.
Inside voices. Inside voices.
So,
I'm the mom.
so
Sorry,
Minnick
I
had
got
you
you.
guys in his tasting like about a year and a half ago, with like 12 other whiskeys, and you guys second I think out of that whole list. Give me that.
I want to say
Yeah,
that
like,
was. They did get
That's
second
$6.
place that
No,
one.
no,
I
no.
think it
You're,
was 6.
you're better off pouring me because I am like
Bro.
I'll go heavy.
Yeah, we
I gotta
Okay, well, since they got
we do
distracted,
we do
Jeremy
standard
was
not
talking about
metric
like
here.
in the midst of COVID
Yeah, you
when
can be
it
sleeping
was
on the
in
couch.
like the $30 to $40 range, so on and so forth.
Right.
Also, at this
And
point,
they rated them, and I think it was the Wilderness Trail. It was the High Rye Mash Bill,
Mhm.
the High Rye Bourbon that came in second place in that one, and it was Fred Minnick did them all in blinds, and he had them labeled like A, B, C, D. So on and so forth, and it was really cool. He put them all up against each other, and I want to say that one was second place.
I think it was
that
second.
was almost 2 years ago,
Yeah.
but it was amazing, and that's what I'm saying. That obviously here at Copper Oak, we're not super biased because if people like
Yeah,
Fred are
you
saying
guys
it,
got 50 or 70 different.
we do.
bourbons.
I mean, and we promote
Small
all
collection.
distilleries
It's a
around.
petite
It
collection.
just
quarter of the
it
amount
makes
to my
sense for us,
house.
especially here. Shop local. We're in Naval. Y'all are 6 miles from us.
Support your locals. Tip your
Support
bartenders.
Yes,
Always tell
absolutely.
everyone
Which
how it's like a
actually,
hitchhiker.
Well,
Sorry.
that's a fact. I mean, that brings me to another good point: is we actually use almost exclusively local grains to make
Right.
our products. So
Right.
when you look at sustainability, carbon footprint, these kind of
Mm.
things are becoming more and more important over the years. And so, you know, our grains are, for the most part, being, you know, transported 5-10 miles rather than coming from another state. And, you know, most bourbon distilleries here in Kentucky may use rye in their recipe. We're one of only a couple distilleries in this state that use Kentucky grown rye.
Well, I did notice that you guys are Kentucky proud, which is good,
Mhm.
and that's only
Yeah.
something I recently discovered.
Yeah.
Of I don't know. Actually, I can't remember whose bottle it was that I was drinking, but I was like Kentucky proud, and they were really pushing it.
Mhm.
It could have been yours. Like
Well, that just means that we try to use any vendors that we use for anything. I mean,
Yeah.
people that mow the grass at the distillery, which actually was me up until about a year and a half ago.
You look like a grass
I've mowed a lot of grass and done a lot of other things.
maybe that was all my
That
marriage.
double
was.
entendre.
Smokes a lot of grass.
The double entendre hangs over the.
I was like, there's so many ways we can go with that. I'm like, oh shit.
Let's
Gas,
not.
grass, and gas.
Yeah,
That's right, ain't free.
Yeah, cheers to
Oh
that.
my god, I
Don't
cannot
need no
be the
money
only girl
around
of the group
grass.
any longer. I'm the only girl of the group, and y'all are just on a whole other level.
Woo!
I should have taken you to Heaven Hill.
Tell
with
us
me
straight
there.
up from arm, because though Jeremy James says I do not work,
Oh shit.
I was working, and we have
Allegedly.
allegedly.
vape
I was
getting
clocked
hot?
in.
The vape
Yeah, you were-
She
overheated.
was clocked in. Got hit with a skillet.
The vape overheated.
I lifted my arm, and there was a heat lamp, and then I cried like a baby. Just kidding, but it didn't
You
hurt.
burned it on a heat lamp.
Yeah, that one right up there.
A heat lamp.
Were
You're
you
pointing
raising
to
a
Jeremy's
So you were
wife.
near the kitchen.
Ask anybody, ask Bo Cacciatore, I can flip some burgers. If you've eaten in Copper and Oak in the past 2 months, it's highly likely I cooked some of your food.
And that's probably why that's
Yeah,
Macauley?
we'll just cut that section out for legal purposes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they went from an A to a C minus.
Oh.
Like, shit.
Hold on a minute.
The lawyers.
Oh yeah, that was
Is
what's
that
on
the
my
hair?
plate.
Is that the hair?
Yeah, the lawyers have stepped in now and completely cut the section out.
Happens to the best of us, guys. Alright, are we
Jeremy
wrapping up?
James' X-rated
Oh,
show tonight.
hey, that's a whole different YouTube channel, Macauley. I beg your pardon.
Jeremy James OnlyFans.
That is a paid
Haze
subscription.
outside the field. Don't forget.
That's a paid
Dicks out for the
subscription.
run, baby.
$15.99 a month for that stuff.
Guys, Barstools and Bourbon was so much fun this week.
So in the name
I'm
of
glad you're
class and
Class.
When did
retaining
class come in?
our,
We're well below.
reputation.
Thank
maybe
you.
we should wrap up this episode.
Here it goes. Thank you. We are here at Copper and Oak. I'm LaHanna, the Bourbon Princess. We have featured the amazing Wilderness Trail Distillery. From Wilderness Trail Distillery, we have not the homeless one, Dr.
homeless.
Patrick Heist here, the Bourbon Swami, Macauley Michael Minton. We have Jeremy from Whiskefy over in Australia, and
Oh yeah.
the Bourbon Realtor, Jeremy James. I wrapped it up all on my own because I'm not on their level. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you all
God
for
bless.
tuning in.
Drink
God
up and
bless.
don't pay too much for whiskey.
Peace,
Yeah,
peace, peace.
cheers to that. And drink wilderness trout, tip your bartenders,
Yeah.
support your locals. I got nothing else to say, but
Cheers.
Enjoy, you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Get in there. There we go. That looked messy as hell, but I love y'all. Stay thirsty.